Hey everybody, it's Scott. If you don't know me, my name is Scott Schumacher. I am an oracle card reader, an intuitive, a spiritual director. I have an inner wise elf, and I'm doing a free reading series for the autumnal equinox this time. So I do this about 4 times a year, so 4 or more times actually, on cross-quarter holidays and all the Wheel of the Year holidays. This time around, for the autumn equinox, I'm taking a little bit of a departure of my standard reading format where you can ask me any question you want. And I'm going to be reading with Brian and Wendy Froud's Heart of Fairy Oracle. So, with this deck, the fairy energy is very deep with this deck. And so they're calling me to actually ask you to ask very deep questions, deeper questions like soul questions, not just will you find true love, not just about your next job or your career, or is your home going to sell, or if you'll have a baby. Things that are deeper in your soul. An example of a really good question would be, how do I know when I'm afraid and when I'm not afraid? Or how do I know that my feelings are correct on this situation? Formulate a question that's more specific and actually expands your soul a little bit more, or to even talk about what is my soul's purpose in the cosmos or in like lifetime after lifetime, something that has more depth that the fairies can really grab a hold of. So I do want to read a little excerpt from this fairies oracle, this Heart of Fairy oracle. The fairies can appear and disappear. They can hide. You cannot. The fairies can shapeshift and become something else. You can only become more yourself. But then, that is why you are here. So, they're calling me to have a deeper journey. They're calling me as a reader to give you deeper readings based on deeper questions. I'm also called only to give 30 free readings, 15 on September 21st and 15 on September 22nd. After that, readings are at half price throughout the month. So that's their calling. The fairies want to make sure that you don't misuse them and you don't misuse me as an intuitive. Not that you would. So one of the cards is going to come from this Heart of Fairy Oracle. They're very beautiful, and cards like this Shapeshifter. Just really interesting artwork and a lot of different archetypal features, but very deep, very loving, and also fairy energy that actually sometimes tells you what you need to know in ways that can be very deep, very playful, very snarky, but yet always very truthful and honest. So they're going to remove your mask. I call it the exfoliation of our external masks, because the fairy see us even if we don't let others see us. So the second card I'll read from is from Nari Anastarcia's Cosmic Reading Cards. If you're not familiar with these are beautiful, beautiful cards. They kind of help us reach into the cosmos with a message. So that's kind of like my specialty, is kind of like getting into our cosmic being, things that go on and on beyond our lifetimes, so that we know that we're interdimensional beings. So the third card I'll read from in these 3 cards that I'll read for you comes from Judith Orloff's The Power of Surrender. So if you're not familiar with these cards, Judith Orloff has a great deck. You can get them at hayhouse.com. But basically, a lot of things about surrendering to different types of aspects, surrendering to something and surrendering something away from you. It's deeper than just release. It's deeper than just letting go. This one is surrender to the wisdom of your body. Listen to your body's messages about a person or situation. If you feel physically drained or uncomfortable, be cautious. If you're energized and happy, move forward. So these cards are, I believe, symbolic of our autumn season, where leaves are surrendered from trees, where the harvest is surrendered from the ground, where we enter a time of rejuvenation, because certain things have to be let go of, surrendered. Certain things have to die off on the earth. So as those things happen, it's really great to pair up things in our own self, what we want to surrender. like surrendering our guilt, surrendering our self-doubt, surrendering our self-depreciating talk about ourselves. So that came from the fairy energy. That's one thing they're telling me. This is a deeper, deeper journey that I should undertake as a reader, to actually get a lot deeper with the folks who are requesting readings. So I do ask you, formulate deeper questions, formulate very specific questions, things that the fairy will really latch onto, because if it's not a deep question, the fairy are going to tell me a deep question for you. So, or they'll tell me to send it back to you and come back to me, and I'll have to go to the next person. So, I just want to close by reading another passage from Brian Froud and Wendy Froud's Heart of Fairy Oracle book. People often deeply desire to see fairies, but whether they do or don't, remember that fairies can always see you. When they look at us, we cannot hide behind our comfortable masks of rigid thinking, for in their penetrating gaze we are transparent and revealed. As we behold them, we are beheld by them, transfixed and suspended between their world and ours in the moment of communication. So I hope you will join me for this deeper journey over the autumn equinox. Deeper readings, 15 free per day the 21st and 15 on the 22nd. After that, everything is half price for readings for me through the end of September. So you go to northerndruid.net on September 21st. You might want to do it early and register, because the first 15 people will get free readings that day, and then I will close it down. And then September 22nd, the first 15 people will receive free readings that day. Probably send them to them within a few hours or the next day, so depending on the demand. So I hope you'll join me. northerndruid.net. Again, my name is Scott Schumacher. It's my pleasure to serve you, and have a great, great night. Love you.